I think we should just work better in making sure the environment is more conducive in the boarding schools.
That the space they are in, they still need the care of their parents, they still need the care of their teachers.
Boarding schools will never be bad. In fact, we need more boarding schools.
With regard to what is happening in schools, I hope that our principals have taken full control, because nobody, and I want to repeat, nobody is empowered to touch a child in school physically.
Boarding schools have in recent years been marred by criticism over the spate of unrest that has led to school strikes coupled with the torching of dormitories and rampant abuse of drugs and illicit substances by students. The administration has also been caught up with cases of inhumane disciplining of students leading to bodily harm, and in unfortunate circumstances, the students have lost their lives. In this feature, we delve into this matter to try and find out the state of boarding schools from the perspective of a student,
a teacher,
a psychologist's view of the long-term psychological effects on negatively affected students, and the reason for its popularity among parents. Boarding schools were introduced in Kenya by the colonial masters to train African students who had shown academic potential in the ways of the British. The young men and women were separated from their cultures and taught the English language alongside the proper mannerisms necessary while operating in the British administration. The system was hence replicated in all the many boarding schools that cropped up over the country post-independence. To this date, little has changed in the modus operandi of these schools, from the school uniforms to the school mottos, some still keeping the strict disciplinarian antics, a testament to the colonial handiwork. In the unrest witnessed in 2021, 31 secondary schools were burnt down and 27 were boarding schools. A task force formed to investigate this matter listed drug abuse among students, fear of examinations, lack of professional ethics by teachers, and corporal punishment among the key factors that led to the student revolt. But to get a better understanding of the situation, we had to hear it from the horse's mouth.
There is a time in our school, by the way, it was very bad. So this actually, it was my class teacher and my history teacher. So apparently that lesson was a Swahili lesson. And the teacher comes in, says, do your revision, I'm busy. So mimi kama kawaida nikasema wacha niende nipigie mzazi angalau nijue ako aje. So I go to that thing is called bureau. You go book a session for you to call home. So I go there, I make a call obviously, and in no minutes I'm called in the staff room. By who? By my class teacher. He's like, why have you Skyped lessons and the teacher was in class, you're not in class? Don't you think that's bad behavior? I was like, no, it was not, because the teacher is not in and all that, back and forth. So apparently, he grabbed me by my shirt, like, come here, and then rolled me down. So I'm a girl in a skirt, and he pulled me. Akanilalisha chini, out of nowhere, abansimbana ilikuwa inanigonga mgongo. Like, if you check my back, actually, you'll find those stripes up to now, scars of a class teacher who's like really beat me up. It was so bad. By the way, whenever I remember that story, I feel like crying. I don't like talking about it.
The issues raised by the students unfortunately are recurrent, just like the unrest, pointing to the fact that little is being done to address them, yet they are the main stakeholders of these institutions. It is important to note that their 100% transition from primary to secondary schools brought a stress to the existing systems in most boarding schools, as the government is yet to match the capacity increase by building more infrastructure and employing more teachers to reduce the student-to-teacher ratio.
Most of the challenges I've faced as a student of peer teacher mostly is like getting the stories to actually be heard, or even getting to hear of the stories. That's what I would say. Most students are actually secretive. No one wants to admit these things are happening to them, definitely. And again, we can't get in touch with everyone in the school. In a school of almost 1,000 students, you can't know everyone. Not actually everyone has the personality to even open up to you. And again, the other challenge would be getting schools to hire professionals, not like appointing a teacher or several students to be part of the peer counseling. So I'm sure these stories are there, and I feel like if we had professionals, definitely these cases would be handled better, and there would be less students with traumatic experience.
To shed some light on why secondary schools are still a preferred choice among parents, we speak to one of the parents.
Schools are also helping as parents because most of us, we are going to work. We have no time, enough time, that is, to spend to monitor our kids. So second schools are playing a very major role in terms of helping to monitor the progress of our kids, to attend to them. Because even if I stay with my kid in a day school, during the day, I'm not around. Whatever goes on in the life of that kid, I'm not responsible most of the time. So, but in a boarding school, the teachers are monitoring the school rules. We have to follow all the time. So with that, it helps our kids to be disciplined, and with that, they become responsible citizens.
The Ministry of Education needs to involve first is the children, because this is their welfare. And let them discuss with them what they want. You know, most of the time we impose things on them, but when you incorporate them in whatever thing that they're supposed to be done, they will bring ideas, but with guidance. So you guide them on the right way.
The unrest in secondary boarding schools saga will continue to rear its head time and time again unless all the recommended measures to address this menace are acted upon fully. Until then, the boarding school express continues to rage on, notwithstanding the cries of concern from its passengers, the students.